I'm going to master and awaken the light fruit. I already have it in my inventory, so it'll be easier to master it. Now I just have to eat it, and I'll have to say goodbye to our dragon fruit. But now let's eat our light fruit because I still need to awaken it. Mastering it will be pretty easy. The last ability only requires 110 mastery, so by defeating a few NPCs, I'll be able to unlock it. But first, the first ability when I use it is a light kick, and I think light is one of the best fruits for leveling up because besides having the click attack, almost all the attacks, actually all the attacks, are area of effect. The first is a light kick. Now the second attack is going to be a rain of light, which also hits an area. The third ability is already different. The attack is area of effect, but at first you'll only be able to hit one NPC. Actually, the attack works in a different way. I thought I would grab an NPC and then slam them into the ground, but actually I leave trails of light and then do a kick into the ground. So the attack is also area of effect. And the second ability that I forgot to show is the movement skill, which only requires 10 mastery. The movement skill is really good because besides letting you go wherever you want, it's also very fast. The only problem is that with light not awakened, you can't change the direction of your flight. So if I'm going in this direction and then want to turn back to go to the mansion, I won't be able to. I'll have to cancel the flight, and when the ability comes off cooldown, I can fly again. Last unlocked ability, and it's another area of effect attack, but this attack covers a huge area. I think I can hit both of these NPCs with just one ability. Actually, I can't, but I think with the awakened fruit, I can. So I'll test that when I awaken our fruit. But even without hitting both NPCs at the same time, this ability has good range. Now I just need to awaken our light. I'll try to do it alone, but if I can't, I'll get help from my main account. I have 5 abilities and 5 fruits in my inventory, so it'll be 1 fruit for each ability. I've already made the switch. The first fruit was rocket, and my stats are good, and I'm almost at max level. I'm just 50 levels short of max level, so this raid is supposed to be easy. I just don't know if it'll actually be that easy in practice. But on the very first island, I'm having a lot of trouble. I only have 4,000 health, but I managed to clear the first island. Still, I don't think I'll be able to finish the raid. The NPC deals a lot of damage, and if I had help from 2 more people, it would be easier. But doing it alone without the Buddha fruit makes things complicated. Even if I were at max level, I still don't think it would be enough. Even so, I'm going to try and see if I can do it. I was so close to defeating those last 2 NPCs, but in the end, I was the one who got defeated. Even using several abilities, it still wasn't enough, and I could have made it past the second island if I had just kept using abilities. But if I only use abilities on every island, it would take way too long to finish the raid. So the best choice is to get help from my main account. This is going to be the difference when using the Buddha fruit to do a raid. I think I'll take less than 30 seconds to finish the first island. I've already finished the first island, and I think it took a little more than 30 seconds. I think it took me around 40 seconds in total, but now I am quite sure I will be able to finish all of the raids. I finished the first raid, and I got 1,000 fragments, but I just realized now that if I want to awaken all of the abilities, I'll need to do a few extra raids, because I unlocked our very first awakened ability, which used to be a light kick, but now has become a bow with a light arrow. It's also a good ability and has an area effect, but now I'm going to do a few raids to gather fragments, because I only have 500. After spending quite a while doing raids, I managed to gather 10,000 fragments. I did the math, and I'm going to need 14,000 fragments, and I still have 4 abilities left to awaken. So there's an exact amount of fragments needed to awaken all the abilities. I unlocked the second ability, which in this case, I don't know if it's going to be the X or the F, and this one turned out to be the F, and it will cost 2,000 fragments. I thought it was going to cost 1,000 fragments, so maybe my calculation is wrong. And now with the awakened ability, I can change the direction I want to go. That's good, but it's not very precise. If I want to go towards Big Mom's island, I'll have to keep spinning a few times until I turn in the right direction to get to the island I need. I finished the ride for the third ability, and since the last one was 2,000, this one is going to be at least 3. And it really was 3,000 fragments for us to be able to awaken it. And now, using the ability, when we hold it, instead of being a rain, it's just a laser. The good thing about this ability is that it doesn't spread much, so you'll be able to deal maximum damage if you don't miss the ability. With the light rain, if you were far away, not all the attacks might hit. Let's move on to our second to last ability, and this one costs 4,000 fragments, so logically the next one should cost 5,000. So I did the math right, and I have the fragment I need. But now with the ability we've unlocked, before it was a light kick. Now the ability is almost the same thing, but instead of delivering a light kick, we're going to grab the enemy, leave a trail of light, and then slam them into the ground. My attack didn't work because I ended up using it the wrong way. This This time I'm going to use it the right way. I hit him, did the light combo, and then slammed him into the ground. Last ability unlocked. Actually, I haven't unlocked it yet, but I'm going to unlock it now since I finished the raid and I already have 5,000 fragments. The hardest part about fully awakening this fruit was gathering the necessary fragments, because I had to do about 10 separate raids just to get the specific fragments I truly needed. But now our last ability is going to be this massive rain of light. The attack is much bigger now and also looks a lot cooler. But now what I want to test is on the NPC to see if I can hit both of them at the same time. But I don't have the portal unlocked, so I'll have to fly there. I've already arrived at the mansion and now I just need to test my ability. I think I still won't be able to hit both NPCs at the same time. Even so, I'm going to try it. Who knows, maybe I'll pull it off. And actually, I really did manage to do it. It dealt a little over 10,000 damage, and splitting it between two NPCs, that was 5,000 damage to each. All of Light's abilities just got better, and even though the second ability turned into a laser, the attack still hits an area if you manage to group them together. It's the same with the first ability. Even though it's a bow, the longer you hold it, the stronger the ability gets, and it's also an area attack, and the other two abilities remain the same. The big problem is that with the C ability, you'll only be able to deal damage to this NPC with the impact on the ground because you can only grab one NPC at a time. So if you want all the abilities to deal area damage, you'll need to come here to the mansion and talk to this elephant. By talking to him, you'll remove the awakening from your ability. If you want, you can remove the awakening from the entire fruit. Now, the ability without awakening will deal area damage. Now, I'm going to talk a bit more about the fruit, but before that, a fruit showed up on the tracker and it was a T-Rex. I was really lucky. And just so I know who watched up to this point, comment T-Rex and I'll leave a heart. Now, talking about the light fruit, it's a fruit that I don't see many people awakening, even though it's a fruit you can get right at the beginning, since its rarity isn't that high. When you have a colored hockey, what I think is cool is that it creates this aura around you. But I think that in a possible update, when they update the light fruit, they could change this sword, which actually isn't a sword, it's a spear. But I think that when you manage to fully awaken your fruit, there could be a final awakening that awakens your spear. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but I think it would be a good idea. The fruit, as for awakening without the actual awakening, doesn't really change much. What I'm going to test is the damage of the ability. With the first ability, holding the kick, I deal 2,700 damage. Now with the awakened ability, when I hold the ability to the max, I dealt 5,000 damage. That's a huge difference. It was almost double the damage. With the second ability, without awakening, it's a rain of light, so it's a bit harder to land all the hits, but it did 3,000 damage. Now with the awakened ability, it went past 3,000, past 5,000, and reached almost 6,000. It was almost double again. With the light kick, I dealt 3,600 damage. Now with the awakened ability, we dealt 4,000 damage. The difference wasn't that big. Now for the last awakened ability, using it takes some time to deal the full damage, but I hit two NPCs, so it doesn't really count. But I think it'll be around 6,000 damage, so it won't have increased that much. Using the ability on just one NPC, it was 5,800. The awakened ability didn't really change much. So the two abilities that actually make a difference are the first two, where the ability's damage pretty much doubles if you use the full power of the ability. It's not that easy to use these two abilities in a tough situation, but if you just click the ability, you'll already deal the base damage without awakening. So if you manage to hold the ability, it'll just be some extra damage. The only thing not great about just clicking the ability is the second ability. Since it's a laser, if you just click, you don't deal 6,000 damage. But that's it. Let me know what you think about the light fruit in comments, and see you in the next video.